Hello, welcome back to SCI Teach. This is biology practical specimen analysis for Neco 2025. So we're going to look at all the specimens and then analyze them, compare and contrast, or essentially we're going to give you questions that you're going to see in your exams and how you're going to answer them. Okay? Remember to subscribe to this channel, like and share the videos to your friends who are also writing exams, so that as you are excelling, they are excelling also. All right. So specimen A is housefly, specimen B spider, specimen C pride of Barbados, specimen D bean seed, specimen E butterfly, specimen F crayfish, specimen G grasshopper, specimen H humerus of rabbit, specimen I femur of rabbit, specimen J orange fruit, specimen K honeybee, specimen L land snail, specimen M guava fruit, specimen N Irish potato tuber, and specimen O sweet potato tuber. So we're going to look at all these specimens one by one, and the ones we can compare, we compare. The ones we can contrast, we contrast. Find similarities, find differences, find features, and all that, and that would form your questions in your exam. So sit back and enjoy. Let's go. We're going to compare specimen A housefly with specimen E butterfly, not because the name ends with fly, but because they have similar features and differences. Okay, so specimen A housefly and specimen E butterfly. First, let's identify them. So identification of organisms: butterfly, or we call it Papilio species, and housefly is Musca species. That's the identification. So butterfly is Papilio sp, and then housefly Musca species. Now I'm going to give you a diagram. See the picture, the diagram drawn there. In case you're asked to draw it and label it to one side like this. The diagram you see, I'm comparing butterfly with housefly, and then I labeled them. Now, what are the names of this label? Okay, for the you have the eye, which is the head. Okay, the eye is the head. See, eye is for only the butterfly. I didn't put eye in housefly. So eye is the head. The eye is the antenna. Find it. You see there. I is thorax. IV is forewing. V is the abdomen. VI is the antenna. Okay, that's for head. The housefly now. VI is antenna. VII head. VII compound eye. IX forewing, and then X is the leg. Okay, so you should be able to label the parts, draw it like that. Doesn't look beautiful, but should be showing all these parts as you've seen, and label them the right way. Okay, so let's look at the functions of these parts. The antenna. Okay, now the antenna is for feeling sensitivity to touch, sensitivity to smell, vibrations. The antenna receives all those. And then the compound eye is for seeing, for sight, for vision. Okay, and the wing is for balancing. Okay, also for flying, so for flight and for balancing. And the leg is for walking and crawling and running when they have to use them. Okay, now let's look at the specific habitats of butterfly and housefly. All right, butterfly, the habitat is garden, or you call it, or farm, or a flowering plant or tree. Butterfly can stay in all these habitats: garden, farm, flowering plants, or trees. Okay, but housefly stay in latrines, toilets, refuse dumps. Okay, they even stay in exposed food. They stay in sewage. They stay in decaying organic matter. So that's their habitat. They don't build houses. They don't find a nest. They don't find a hole to live in. They stay where things are rotten, where things are smelly: latrines, toilets, refuse dump, exposed food, sewage, decaying organic matter, and the rest. That's the habitat of housefly. How about the structural adaptations of butterfly? Okay, so it has the large or the broad wings for flight. Uses it for flight. When they say structural adaptations, it means the parts of the body, the structural features of the body, how are they used to survive. So it's having a large or a broad wing. Why? So that to fly, for flight. And also it has a long, thin proboscis. We call it mouth part. Why? For sucking the nectar. Okay? Then it has a long clubbed antenna, and that's for sensitivity, of course. And a large compound eyes for vision. That's the structural features it has, and that is how they are used in adaptation. So structural adaptations of butterfly. Remember, if you are drawing, draw properly. Draw according to the dimensions you are asked in your exam. Giving you a diagram to look at and draw, so that you already start practicing how to draw them before the exam. Okay, so what are the structural similarities between butterfly and housefly? You see, similarities, what do they both possess? They both possess wings. Both of them have wings, housefly and butterfly. They fly. And they have 3 body divisions: the head region, the thorax region, and the abdomen region, both of them. So that's the similarity. And also they have a pair of antennae, both of them. They have a pair of antennae. And a pair of compound eyes too, both of them. And they also have segmented body. You see the divisions in their body parts. Segmented body. Alright, so those are the structural similarities between housefly and butterfly. But what about the structural differences between housefly and butterfly? You see, why housefly has a narrow wing, butterfly has broad wings. Okay? And for butterfly, the antenna is clubbed, that's knobbed. But for housefly, the antenna is not clubbed or knobbed. For butterfly, they have long antenna, while housefly have short antenna. And there is smaller compound eyes for butterfly and a bigger compound eyes for housefly. Then there are scales present in butterfly, but they are absent in housefly. And butterfly has hind wings, while housefly has the hind wings reduced to halters. Alright, and then there are simple eyes in butterfly. I have simple eyes, but butterfly don't have simple eyes, but housefly has simple eyes. And then there is no hair in butterfly, but there are hair present in the body of housefly. Okay, so that's the structural differences between housefly and butterfly. Remember, we're still comparing specimen A, housefly, and specimen E, butterfly, comparing, contrasting, and all that. Then those are the class of both of them. Since they are similar, they are going to have the same class. Okay, so the class of specimen A, housefly, and specimen E, butterfly, is insecta. So that's the class. They are insects. So the class is insecta. Why? What's the reason for that class? Because they have presence of wings. So if you're asked, what's the class of specimen A and specimen E, or which of them there, it's insecta, and give reason for your answer. You say because they have presence of wings. They have 3 body divisions: the head, thorax, and the abdomen. And they have a pair of antennae and 3 pairs of jointed legs on the thorax, and the presence of a pair of compound eyes. And they have segmented body. Those are reasons why they are classed as insects, insecta. What's the economic importance of butterfly? The economic importance of butterfly: it helps to pollinate flowers. So it pollinates flowers. Okay, that's the biological importance. And it is a source of food for some organisms. You see, frog or toad, they eat those butterfly. So they're also a source of food. They also help pollinate flowers. You see them a lot in flowers. All right. Now, we may also see questions that will try to compare specimen E, butterfly, with specimen G, grasshopper. So you may be comparing butterfly with grasshopper. Remember, we just compared housefly with butterfly. But in case you also compare butterfly with grasshopper, the answers are going to look like this. You first, maybe you'll be asked for the phylum of butterfly and grasshopper. The phylum of butterfly and grasshopper is an arthropoda. And you'll be asked, give reason for that, your answer. And you say there is metameric segmentation. There are segmented bodies. It has jointed appendages. That's butterfly and grasshopper. They have jointed appendages. And there is presence of chitinous exoskeleton. So the exoskeletons are made of chitin. And also it has a bilateral symmetry, both of them. So that's why they are classed as a phylum or is an arthropoda, if given reason. And then you are asked to differentiate differentiate between butterfly and grasshopper, you can go ahead and say in butterfly there is presence of proboscis, but in grasshopper there is presence of mandibles. In place of proboscis, we have mandibles in grasshopper. And then also in butterfly there is clubbed or rounded or knobbed antenna, like we already said, but the antenna is not clubbed, it's not rounded, it's not knobbed. Okay, so in grasshopper. Then there is wing. Okay, but the wing is membranous, that is soft in butterfly, soft wing. But in grasshopper the wings are harder, so they are less membranous, and there are 4 wings that are leathery. Okay, that's grasshopper. And then for butterfly we have surface of wing is powdery. If you touch the wing of butterfly, you see dust, powdery stuff. So they have scales and eye spots also. But for grasshopper, surface of wing is not powdery. They don't have scales and eye spots. In butterfly you have wings that are pigmented. You have colorful wings, butterfly. But wings in grasshopper have uniform color. Is that they are green or they are brown. Okay, and then for butterfly the hind limbs or the legs are smaller, shorter and less muscular. But in grasshopper the hind limbs or the legs are larger and they are elongated, and they are more muscular than the butterfly's hind limbs. And in butterfly abdomen is hairy, whereas the abdomen of grasshopper is not hairy, it is smooth. Okay, so we've also differentiated between specimen C or specimen E butterfly and specimen G grasshopper. You may also be asked to draw either butterfly alone or grasshopper alone or housefly alone. Remember to draw them well, and the title should be there, okay, under it. And remember the clarity of lines, label to one side. Use ruler to draw your lines of label, and label at the end of the lines, not scattered labeling. You see the one I put there is labeled or vertically straight. And then take note of the size you're asked to draw in your exam, and how big, magnification, okay? And the details should be there. The clubbed antenna should show. The 3 body divisions should show. The 4 wings, the brother and the hind wings should show. Okay? So if you're drawing butterfly, the labels must include head, compound eyes, the 4 wing, the hind wing, antenna, thorax, abdomen, the scale, the eye spots. Okay? All this should be there for you to score marks. Those are the important labels you must ensure you include in your drawing. Then if you are drawing grasshopper, and you see this on the screen, draw and label well. You see the diagram on your screen. The diagram of grasshopper. You see the grasshopper and I've labeled it well. There is a hind leg, there's a compound eye, there's the antenna, there's the mouth parts. Okay, label. Okay, so like I've already said, we have the 4 wing, the wing, the abdomen, they are segmented, the leg used for walking, and the thorax. Then you may be asked a question like, what's the adaptation of the leg to its functions? Adaptation of the leg to its functions. Remember how I asked the other one? Okay, now what we're asking is, you see the leg is short, but why is it short? Okay, that's adaptation of that leg to its function. So it is short for safe landing, and also you have presence of claws at the tip of the legs. Why? To grip vegetation. That's for firm grip, for stability. When they fly and land on something, they grip well, they don't fall off because of those claws at the tip of the leg. And then the claws also is used for crawling or for movement. Okay, they hold and drag their body and move their body along, and it drags. If it was smooth, the leg will come back. Okay, so that's adaptation of that leg to its functions. All right, remember, draw well. Draw well. It's very important to note how to draw and draw well. Of course, most of you have written YX, so you know how the information you are asked to supply in your drawings. The compound eye, the hind leg, the mouth part, the antenna, they must show clarity of lines. Your guidelines, rule them. Use ruler. Don't draw with hand, except you know how to draw straight. Okay, horizontally label them. You see how I labeled mine? Because the compound eye is up here, I didn't go and label along the line of the arrow and label it to be rising upwards. No, now all the labels are horizontal. Hind leg written horizontally. Compound eye, even when the arrow was going up, but then compound eye is written horizontally. Antenna written horizontally. Mouth parts written horizontally. Then you can be asked the economic importance. How can this, what are the ways in which grasshopper is of importance to the ecosystem? It destroys vegetation, so it can help destroy the vegetation and clear some land or grasses or stuff. And also it breathes out carbon dioxide, which plants use for photosynthesis. And also it serves as food for other organisms, of course. And then it causes discomfort or nuisance. Okay, remember, economic importance is both bad or good effects. So economic importance does not just mean the good things. You must list out the bad side and the good side. So it's just like saying everything about it, how useful they are, how the damage they can cause and all that. Okay, so to its ecosystem, that's what it can do. But to humans, what are the economic importance? It serves as food or feed for poultry and also destroys crops. It serves as specimen for scientific research. Like you see now, it's a specimen for your biology practical exam. So it can serve as specimen for scientific research. It reduces crop yield. Remember, both bad and good. All right, so it reduces crop yield and also provides income. Some people sell it. Okay, you can sell it. Some people eat it. So it's a source of food. So, and the phylum is Arthropoda, the class Insecta. Okay, reason for classification. Why are we saying the phylum is Arthropoda? Has jointed appendages, chitinous exoskeleton that covers the body bilaterally symmetrical, body metametrically segmented. And reason for classification as a class Insecta: body is divided into head, thorax, and abdomen in 3 body divisions. Thorax bears 3 pairs of legs, and a pair of wings is there, a pair of compound eyes, and a pair of antennas. So you just discover all class Insecta are going to have these body divisions and all that, and all phylum Arthropoda are going to have the jointed appendages and all those chitinous and stuff similar to that. Then what are the features of grasshopper? You see, green mostly. The green color of the body is for camouflage from predators. So the green color, they can hide in plants that are green and predators won't see them. So they are alive. And then the pair of antennae is to detect vibrations and smell and sensitivity. And the numerous abdominal spiracles are for gaseous exchange. And the presence of well-developed or powerful mandibles or mouth parts for chewing and feeding. That's for tearing food, tearing the leaves that they're going to chew. And then the jointed legs is for fast movements to escape from predators. And the membranous wings is for flight from predators. And a pair of compound eyes for vision. All right. So I've provided all you need for specimen A, housefly, specimen E, butterfly, and specimen G, grasshopper. And for more information, you will see grasshopper, green colored body, maybe brown sometimes, depending on the one they will drop in front of you in your exam hall. If it's green, you say green colored body. If it's brown, brown colored body. Cylindrical body also. It's not fat, it's not round, it's cylindrical, tapers. And then elongated hind limb or leg, 1 pair of wings, and a large or muscular stout hind legs, short antenna, row on spines on the inner side of the hind leg. All right. What's the feeding mechanism of grasshopper? It's a biting and chewing insects. So the mouth parts is the feeding mechanism. All right. And the food in which they feed on, the grasshoppers, is their foliage leaves, young or tender stem also, and green stem or grasses. That's what they feed on. All right.